Hi folks, my name is Mr. Kuchak and I am your art teacher. Before we begin, let me go over our class rules. We have 3 rules at Elk Lake. Be ready, be responsible, be respectful. We are ready in the art room when we come in, sit in our assigned seats, and get quiet so that we can learn about art. We are responsible in the art room when we follow directions and take care of our supplies, and we clean up any of our messes. We are respectful when we use kind words like please and thank you, and when we value other students' artwork. Supplies you will need for today's lesson. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Hi folks, today we are going to do some cartooning and we are going to work on cartoon heads. So we've already done the eyes and the mouth, and now we have some place to put everything. With the cartoon heads, we are going to use simple shapes, and this will let us reproduce any of the faces that we make very easily. It's a trick that professional artists use. So let me turn my camera and we will get you started. All right folks, so today let's start off with the simplest shape that we can. So the simplest shape that we can make is a circle. And then with our circle, if we divide that in half, we can use that simple circle shape for the ears. So then we can have our face with our ears. Now there's a trick when you're putting features on there. The eyes are going to be kind of even with the top of the ears, and the bottom and the nose somewhere with the bottom of the ears too. Now if you stretch them out a little bit, that's going to change things a little bit, but for the most part, if you put the eyes even with the top of the ears, you'll have the right proportions, because then you can still add in things like hair and a neck and any other features that you need. So that's a simple circle. It's keeping with the circular. If we do an oval and we do ovally ears, then we have 2 very common heads. When I was taking a drawing class in college, I had a professor say that, you know, when you're drawing people, look and see if they are more like Bert or they're more like Ernie. So these simple shapes are used a lot, even in cartoons, and on Sesame Street you have Bert and Ernie. If we take this and we turn it sideways, then we have a little bit wider face with that. So a little bit longer, a little bit circular, a little bit wider face with those. We can also push this one inside, and there's 2 different ways that we can do it. So first way is if we start off with a big 3, small 3. So like a big bump, little bump for our 3. And then we do the same thing. Big bump, little bump. Where you put the ears is very important. So we're going to put the ears down here, and then that way your character has a big, huge brain. So if you needed maybe like an evil mad scientist who was trying to take over the world and they had a big brain, then there you go. Now if we flip this around the other way though, and we do a small 3, big 3. So we do a small bump, big bump. Watch what happens. So small bump, big bump. Then what happens is they have a really big chin, and if we put the ears here, then they look a little bit more simian or monkey-like. So we can have a face here, we can have eyes up here, and you can have a different character. And once again, those are just circles. If we go to squares, and we use squares with square ears, then we have a little bit more of a robotic character, or maybe somebody from Minecraft that you might be doing. We could also turn it a little bit. So if we start off with an A, and then we come down and come down, and we draw the neck, then we have somebody kind of looks like a character from Phineas and Ferb. We can also use the triangle. So we can do a triangle, and triangle, and triangle. And then that way we have their ears, their eyes, their head. It kind of looks like some of the creatures from Rise of the Guardians. And then we can also flip that around the other way and do a fox character. So we can have that looking that way. We can also do kind of a a wrestler or like football character. And the way that I do this is I start off with a small line, big line. So small line on top, big line on the bottom, and then we connect. What that lets us do is it lets us have a big character where kind of like where their neck has disappeared, but they look like they're a big bodybuilder or a wrestler. So that's a good character to have. Over here, we can do a few more. So let's start off with kind of a C shape for the nose. And then we're going to come up and we'll go down. So up and down. And then we're going to do a rectangle. So then we have a character where we have a nose and we can do eyes. You know, if you wanted to make them more alien-like, you can always do things like antenna on them. If you wanted to make it a little bit fancier, start off with like a curvy 7. So if you start off with a curvy 7 and then add the nose, you can kind of come in and same thing. It just gives them a little different look, gives them a little bit more of a style to them. The other thing you can do too is think of things that you know. The same professor that I had would always tell us, draw what you know. You know, you may live on a farm and you may know tractors and you may know animals and things like that. So use those heads, or you know, use parts of a tractor. You might like the way the skid steer tires work and the way they have those big grooves, and you might say, well, you know what, that looks almost like it would be a great face for a character. And then if you have a circle inside, you know, you could do something easily with that. Or maybe, you know, you want to do something where it's a little bit more of an oval and you do some lines coming down, and then maybe we give it kind of like corn. And we give him a mask because he's trying to keep everyone from eating all the sweet corn. So we can have a superhero made out of corn. You may be something like football, where you say, you know what, I really like the football. It almost looks like the mouth on a character. And so then you can kind of come up with the eyes, nose, mouth for that. Or even the goalpost is a good one too, where we can have something similar to that. Other simple shapes, things like hearts or like stars, those are great for different, those are great for different characters too. So use your shapes, use the things that you know, use the things that you are able to draw, and come up with some characters. So what I would suggest you do is, after you draw out some heads, then what I want you to do is look at your paper. Look at your paper and pick a head. So maybe you pick the circle head. You know, maybe you draw out the ears, and then find a set of eyes from your paper. So maybe you get the dizzy eyes inside there. And then you give them, the dizzy mouth, and then, you know, we do something dizzy up above them too. Or, you know, maybe we do one of the rectangle guys, and you know, we make him mad, and we give him maybe buck teeth inside there. So there's a few things that you can do, but just give yourself like 2 fingers worth of spacing between your characters, so that next time we can add in some of the different bodies. You know, if you're trying out different eyes, maybe you do the crisscross eyes with, you know, the silly mouth inside there. Maybe there's a fly buzzing around and there's a fly right between his eyes. So give yourself some spacing, and then give yourself some space underneath, because that's where we're going to draw the bodies next time. So draw out as many as you can. I would draw out at least 5. That way you have a good variety of characters. And, you know, think of what you might need. You know, do you need a hero character? Do you need a supervillain character? Do you need a police officer character or a fireman character? Or do you need a farmer character? You know, do you need a teacher character? Come up with the things that you might need for your story, and it's going to make things a whole lot easier later on when we're drawing our comics. So have a great night, good luck with this, and I can't wait to see what you made.